Seireitei, a Bleach Fandom community podcast brought to you today by the Hogyoku. Though it be but little, it is fierce. My name is Del, and today I am joined by Nomi. Or am I?
Nomi?
Am I? Hello?
Oh,
there you
are. there she is. Well, I'm now, okay, cat's out of the bag, as I'm sure Yoruichi likes to say. I'm also joined by Lethan.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, hello.
Great
yeah,
start.
you know, honestly, truly though, for leading into episodes like this, because, well, I say episodes, I actually mean episode 62 is I think, as far as content and information goes, perhaps the most dense episode we've engaged with so far. So layers on layers on layers is kind of the name of the game today. Before we super jump in, how are y'all? Is there anything you feel like you want to get out in the air before we really dive in?
Sorry for the long episode. Another long episode.
Another long episode, yeah.
Don't say sorry! This is quality content! Excuse you!
Yeah, you're welcome for the fantastically long extra special episode.
That's more like
There
it.
we go.
That's more like it. Oh my god. Well, while we're shooting the shit, I also want to say thank you to both of you for acknowledging my Aries hotness last episode, which was also long. Okay, now that, because he's not in any of the rest of this denouement, I realize. I'm just gonna hit it because
Go for it.
listeners, my god, buckle up for this summary because so much happens in this one episode. I'm not gonna apologize for that necessarily, but you're in for a ride. So let's get to it. Okay, so we return to what is no doubt Captain Komamura's earnest attempt at an epic showdown with the treacherous Captain Aizen, which lasts for like 2 seconds because Aizen practically one-hit KOs Komamura, whose face, by the way, Aizen says he's seen before. And Aizen does this by making use of an incantation-less Hado number 90 spell. Before falling flat on his frankly adorable face, Komamura grapples with questions of morality, interrogating in particular why his dear friend Tozen, with whom he shares an extensive history, became a Soul Reaper and why Tozen is aligning himself with Aizen now. So Aizen, having handily dispatched his opponent, continues talking to all parties present about his schemes, revealing that he set up the whole execution shindig so that he could obtain the Hogyoku embedded within Rukia. This plan had many steps, but perhaps the most key among them was killing all of Central 46 a hot minute ago and issuing orders in their stead, and digging into Urahara Kisuke's old research, which allowed Aizen to find an alternate method to extract the Hogyoku in the event that, say, the execution via Sokyoku should fail. Aizen promptly makes use of his findings. His hand transforms, and he reaches right into Rukia's chest and yoinks the Hogyoku out. He then orders Gin to kill Rukia, saying that Rukia is no use to him anymore, and Gin attempts to do so, using his Shinso's Shikai. The blade hurtles forward at incredible speed, but it doesn't meet its target. Because who should step in than none other than Nisama himself, Byakuya, guilt and shame for days, Kuchiki. Meanwhile, just about every captain and lieutenant in the whole damn Gote, and also Kukaku and Jidanbo, show up and surround Aizen, attempting to restrain him. However, above them all, the sky rips apart, revealing a black expanse chock full of Menos Grande. Aizen and Tozen and Gin all ascend to the sky together, bathed in golden light, as down below, the likes of Ukitake, Komamura, and Rangiku, respectively, grapple with this development. Aizen whips off his glasses, slicks back his hair, and claims that he's going to fill the unbearable vacancy in the throne in the sky. Whatever that means. Then we get to some aftermath, during which Squad 4 does some good healing work, and Byakuya, who is severely wounded but still alive, confesses to Rukia that, number one, his late wife, Hisana, was Rukia's sister. Okay. And then number 2, Byakuya himself was such a big asshole because he did a dumb thing and made 2 conflicting vows. One to Hisana to find Rukia and adopt her into the Kuchiki clan after Hisana's death, and the other to his deceased parents to uphold the law without question. And it's worth noting that's a law he'd already broken once by marrying Hisana, a commoner, in the first place. Whew. That's episode 62. All of that.
Oh my goodness. And that brings us into episode 63, Rukia's resolution, Ichigo's feelings. This episode is more just dealing with the aftermath of that last episode, and the revelation and the subsequent showdown that happened. We see Patience threatened gently by Captain Unohana. We see Ichigo running away from Kenpachi, Rangiku and Izuru getting absolutely plastered, Uryu making clothes for everybody, Rukia apologising to the Shiba clan for killing Kayan, and Komamura asking Tozen's nameless dead friend for advice. Toward the end of the episode, Ukitake calls Ichigo over and gives him a Soul Reaper pass, explaining that they've been issued before when the Soul Society has need for them, and thanking Ichigo for everything he's done. When they travel back to the world of the living, they come face to face with Urahara, who apologises, and Ichigo states that he didn't do anything wrong, which, questionable, but sure, whatever. The characters are then all dropped off back at home, as Yoroichi and Urahara reflect on the fact that they won't die of old age, alluding to the fact that things with Aizen aren't over.
Whew. That is one way to end a season, but still keep it a little cliffhangery. Yeah.
I feel a bit like this episode, like we did with the last episode, where I was like, where do you start? Yes,
I concur wholeheartedly. Oh boy. I suppose I can just kind of go through in quasi-chronological order as I was making my way through episode 62 and just go kind of thought to thought to thought to at least start, and I'm sure that'll probably spur on. I'm very curious to hear what the anime and manga differences are for these episodes, actually.
I know there's like 2 that I'm desperate to discuss. One of them Nomi's got and one of them I've got.
Do you want to kick off with that then, actually, maybe as a jumping off point? I know it's not the order we usually go in, but time is fake, so.
Nomi, do you wanna?
Sure. We'll just jump into the main one then.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so remember when Jidanbo and Kukaku arrive?
Yes.
So they actually arrive after Yorichi and Soifon and the other 3 gatekeepers. Wait, what's this? You don't know about the other 3 gatekeepers? Well, let me tell you. So, Jidanbo, as we know, is the gatekeeper of the West Gate. And which makes sense that, there's 3 other gatekeepers. These gatekeepers are Kaiwan, who is the keeper of the Blue Stream Gate, Danzomaru, who is the keeper of the Black Ridge Gate, and Higonyodu, who is the keeper of the Red Hollow Gate. And the 4 of them, again, these 3 are as giant as Jidanbo himself. The 4 of them make up the gatekeepers that are protecting the Seireitei. And the anime just completely glossed over this fact.
The anime glossed over the fact that Jidanbo was a giant in the first place. I remember calling this out episodes ago on the podcast when I was like, wait a minute, giants? What? Because Yoroichi mentioned it, and then there was other people that mentioned the fact that Jidanbo was a giant and that there were other giants in existence. But for the anime, they just glossed over it because obviously they decided they weren't going to rock that path. But here we go. Here's 3 other giants, and am I right in? I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Nomi. But were they on Aizen's side? What happened with the conflict there? I can't remember.
So, yeah, there is a little bit of kind of wool has been put over people's eyes, and Jidanbo does kind of figure this out, because he figures that the gatekeepers are supposed to be friends and that Captain Aizen must have done something to them. So he just punches them and knocks them all out.
Oh.
That's it. So I did remember them getting attacked, and I was like, there's got to be a reason for that. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. So, although Aizen is surprised that they managed to recruit them, but he must have also anticipated this. And
well, he anticipates everything. I'm genuinely not surprised to hear that he anticipated one more thing. I imagine, I get the sense that this was likely cut from the anime in the interest of streamlining things. Yeah. Because it doesn't sound, per your description, like they add much to this conflict, and there are already a lot of people involved.
And they get a pretty impressive full-page spread of the fight, and Kukaku and Jindambo arriving, and everyone Kukaku being happy that she's there, and then Jidando just knocks them out.
Yeah, they do. They get a couple of pages, actually. I'm flicking through it just now, don't they? They get a good couple of pages. But I think you're right. You're right, Dale. It doesn't add anything to the plot, but it does add something to the world building. I guess it's good for us to know that, hey, by the way, these do exist in the Seireitei, so there's more than just humans there. And obviously we know that from Komamura too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. I thought I had things to say about Komamura. I kind of don't. He just, is present.
Do you know what? One of my first notes that I took about Komamura in this episode is literally, I just put down in capital letters, "Fuck you, Kaname!" Because that was pretty much the sense I got from him when he was shouting.
When he was shouting when everybody was ascending up to the sky kind of thing?
Well, no, when he comes smashing down on him, at the very beginning of the episode, that hyphen ended the last episode. I was just like, that's effectively what he wanted to say.
Yeah. I would be floored if Komamura has ever said fuck in his life.
But I need somebody to sit me down and explain to me, just imagine I'm Komamura here, right? Why the hell?
Oh my god, Lethan, you got so cute, and your name is way more literal. LethanWolf, I get it! Not helpful, I'm sorry.
It's so good. But can somebody please explain to me, why did Kaname go with Aizen? He's talking about a sense of justice and path of least blood, and I'm like, but none of that ties in to what you're doing.
Spoiler episode, we'll sit down.
I have a thought. I don't know if it's sit down worthy necessarily, because I don't know how strong an argument this is from all angles, but the sense that I got, so we know that Tozen is interested in justice, and we know that Tozen is interested in living in a way that honors his dead friend's memory. And there was a bit, I think, because Komamura and Tozen go back and forth a couple of times in flashback, largely in this episode, but then also in the moment, in situ. And I can't remember the exact quote, but Komamura understandably is confused that Tozen is aligning himself with Aizen, and Tozen expresses something about, he once again returns to the idea of finding justice and seeking justice. That's a constant for him. But then he also says something about finding the path with the least blood or something like that, following the road that's paved with the least blood, something along those lines. So I wouldn't be surprised, whether it's through Aizen's power of persuasion, not hypnosis, but just straight up charisma and persuasion, or perhaps some facet of a plan that he's laid out to Tozen, especially considering we get in one of the flashback scenes that Aizen used to be Tozen's lieutenant. Aizen said he was lieutenant of the 5th Division, and Tozen named Aizen as his superior when he was speaking to Komamura in that flashback. So I think, unclear why, but at this point in time, Tozen views Aizen's overarching larger plan, whatever that is, as the most bloodless path toward justice. Which, if you think about the way a lot of Soul Reapers regularly conduct themselves, there is a lot of bloodshed involved. So the argument might be twisted and backwards, and who knows what Aizen said to Tozen and what those conversations were like. But I think if you allow for those circumstances, I can sort of follow Tozen's thinking.
Cool, because I don't know if I'm making it up in my head or if it's coming up in a future episode. I don't remember it being in the anime, but I remember the manga having more of Tozen's flashback with his friend.
I think we got some of that previously, in previous episodes.
Maybe we did, yeah.
Yeah.
And we do get a lot more, but it's in the novel. So the Can't Fill Your Own World novel goes into a lot more information with regards to it as well.
She gets a name in Can't Feel Your Own World, doesn't she?
She gets a gender in the manga, doesn't she? I'm sure she does.
Or she gets a gender, but a name. She's overtly nameless thus far in the anime.
Yes, yeah, she gets a name.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. Okay. So there are bits and pieces that we just can't know at this point in the anime, is I suppose what I'm getting out of that.
Yeah, you're effectively as lost as viewers who haven't
as
watched.
Kentachi in the midst of Tozen's Shikai. Except not, because he actually handled that very well.
He did.
All things considered.
The problem is that I'm so much further in my watch through with Swift. Like, we're right in the middle of I know it's filler, but we're right in the middle of the Unpacked Rebellion arc, and I still have no idea what Tozen's on about. But, like, listen to Dell's point of view, I'm kind of like, okay, like, I guess we've not seen what's happened behind those closed doors, okay, I get it from that point of view.
Okay, cool. So, do you mind if we pivot a little bit?
Go for it.
Great. Okay. So I think there were, like I said before, there are a bajillion major pieces of information and context that we get over the course of episode 62. But I think I just wanted to highlight one in particular because it's kind of what all of this arc has been building up towards, and who's to say whether it will continue to be important in the future? Play to find out. I just want to talk about sort of the Hogyoku, but then also just this whole entire soul mishmash tinkering with the nature of souls concept thing broadly. So the other thing, like, I know it's a fucking trope at this point to be like, why does the villain always monologue? Like, wouldn't it just be better if the villain just did the stuff without talking for a bajillion years?
So glad he didn't. I'm so glad he gave us the explanation.
Well, okay, right, but so normally I'm happy to accept that as a convention, but in this case, I was like, Aizen is so smart. Why? It's only exposition, right? And then, so finally I was like, maybe he's actually that egotistical and that proud of himself. Maybe this is just pure fucking hubris. Like, he's finally achieved the thing that he set out to achieve, and he does not feel that anyone can get in his way properly at this point. So
no,
he's safe and comfy, monologuing about everything he's done. Is he bragging? Like,
I think he's rocking a Hado 91. Like, I think that he is. You're right, Dale. When you said, like, oh, he's probably bragging, I'm like, yes, I think he is. Because if we think about the flashbacks we saw of him with Tozen, like when he goes to speak to Komamura and stuff on the back of Tozen's advice, he is significantly younger. Like, that's a flashback from a while ago when he was a lieutenant. So he's been at this for a very long time, and, probably even before then. We don't know how long all this has been going on for, but it has been a long time. Wasn't there a comment made about Yoroichi and Soifon's fight where Soifon says you've been gone for like 100 years or something?
Yeah, I think, yep.
So we've now got like a timeline of roughly 100 years. So if he has been potentially plotting for that long, and things have been going down for that long, then I'd be fucking bragging at this point too if it was all coming together and I got the thing I needed.
I guess I'm just disappointed. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Because he's just so good at so many other things, then he goes and falls into this trope, this fucker. Well, anyway, so I guess that aside, like, the thing that I actually wanted to focus on was some of the content of that monologue, and that's to do with the two ways that you can fuck something up if it's embedded in a soul. So, so the thing that, like, whatever. So the Sokyoku is the big firebird, good work. And it seems that, like, yes, this is the highest punishment reserved for very intense criminals kind of thing. But apparently it is perhaps not common knowledge, but, like, certainly stated as scientific adjacent fact that thermal disruption, a high degree of thermal disruption, like via the Sokyoku, will evaporate the soul, and then if there's an object embedded in the soul, that object will be left behind. And so initially I was also like, okay, so souls are then more susceptible to heat than stuff is. Which I guess I don't know what material the Hokyoku is made of. Mm-hmm. But that was odd. And the fact that this is not like this isn't the part that he had to like dig into Kisuke's research to discover. This was just known, it seems. So that's a thing. And then further, I just wanted to like solidly acknowledge that like Urahara Kisuke was engaging in active research to discover how to embed things in souls and remove things from souls that perhaps were not organically there the whole entire time. And so Aizen and Urahara are dabbling in certainly the same school of research, if not elements of the exact same research from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We do get it gives us a lot more depth about Urahara's character just as much as it does Aizen's character, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
What else gives us an in-depth to Aizen character as well is the lengths he went through. Like, the backup plan was so anticlimactic and so much simpler than the big elaborate plan that he had thought up.
Oh my god, he's a fucking showman.
He is a showman.
Oh. Well, granted, okay, the fact that he was like, yes, I'm doing this, a physical transformation is certainly required. Like, was this bitch wearing non-prescription lenses the whole time? Like, what?
Oh. Yeah, maybe that was like, maybe he was playing the part, quote unquote, wasn't he? Maybe before he went in undercover, he Googled like how to appear like how to appear trustworthy, and somebody recommended glasses. So he's like, I'm going to do that.
Yes. Well, that's the complete opposite. There's a reason why photo booths tell you to take your glasses off before getting your passport photo taken.
Yeah. That's funny. That's going to be my new headcanon.
The other thing sort of related to this information that I didn't really realize until this watch through. So when Aizen enacts this hidden technique and he does the hand transformation, reach into Rukia's chest, pull out the Hokyoku thing, he comments that it's small. He's surprised and is like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting, which means he's never seen the Hokyoku before. Mm-hmm. He's known about it. This is his first actual interaction with this thing. It's gotta be, right?
Good point. So how then did he know what it was made of, and the fact that the Hokyoku wouldn't destroy it when it destroyed a soul?
Yeah, I think that speaks to whether it's to do with character and intention or to do with parallel scientific and metaphysical interests. I think that speaks more to the parallels you can find between Urahara and Aizen than it does to anything else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will admit, it's just adding layers on Urahara's character. Like, this was a scene that Urahara wasn't in. You know what I mean? And it just added so many layers to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of relationships, we get a lot of quick little flashes of insight into, in particular, like multiple relationships between two people.
Yes.
I want to highlight. I want to start by highlighting Gin and Rangiku. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I've got notes for it.
Yeah.
You go first.
Me? Okay. So, first of all, I want to just call something out, right? Gin lets Byakuya save Rukia. I don't know if anybody else called this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He absolutely lets Byakuya through, because obviously Byakuya just had his ass handed to him by Ichigo, who was like supersonic speed, right? And I get that Ichigo was losing.
Unless his flash step is actually that good, but I like it more if
Gin let him
lets it
by.
happen.
Yeah, because like he let Ichigo by. He was like, sorry, I didn't think you wanted me to interfere, so I'll let the Ryoka get by. And then Byakuya just comes through and saves Rukia, and I'm like, I don't think so. So I think Gin let Byakuya save him. But then Rangiku obviously shows up, takes him prisoner, quote unquote, one of your quotation marks here. And he seems genuinely okay with this. He's like, yep, cool, I'm fine with this. Like, that's absolutely fine with me. But it's the way, I don't know.
Tie me up, mommy. What?
Yeah, I don't know how
Yep.
I don't know what he says in the sub, but in the dub, he effectively says, at first he's like, sorry, I got caught. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously having fun with it. And then he says, when he's saying goodbye, effectively, when he gets in that beam, he says, I was enjoying that. I wouldn't have minded being your captive a little longer. And then he sounds
the sub
really...
is very similar.
And then he sounds really sad when he says, so long, Rangiku, maybe next time.
Ooh, by the way, this is a constant throughout elements of this, various points in time within this scene. But I just wanted to note that in the sub in particular, the goodbye word that is used, certainly from Gin to Rangiku, and then from Aizen to all of the Shinigami, they use the word sayonara, which is a final goodbye. It's
farewell.
Like an adieu as opposed to an au revoir in French. It's like, we are not going to see each other again in this life.
Yeah, I know that because that's the word that Duolingo kept teaching me meant goodbye, and I was like, it really doesn't. Like, that means that's what you say when you're breaking up with somebody. Like,
Ooh.
It's like a final farewell. So it's not like your average, like, Jamatane or something.
Yeah. Which I know that this is jumping ahead, but that's what Ichigo and Rukia say to each other at the end of the next episode. That's a see you later.
Yeah, that's a see you later. Yeah. Matane.
Yeah. So, oh geez, which that contrast is quite cool. I didn't realize that was so sharply contrasted until right now, but that's
cute.
Quite cool.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Right, Nomi, what did you want to say about Gin and Rangiku? Because now I'm curious.
Yes.
No, it's exactly the same. Mostly the just how unworried he looks when Rangiku has him, and his little smirk and the whole "I wouldn't mind being held captive by you." Yeah.
I mean, that's got loads of connotations to it.
I know, and my mind went the other way. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely their relationship is just so interesting. You just can't help but want to know what happened.
Yeah, because we get a wee bit of Rangiku in the next episode, and when she's thinking of him, and she's obviously really sad. He was sad saying goodbye to her as well. So it's like, what happened there?
Yeah, because it is so clear by this point that it's something, and that it's layered, and that it's probably old between the two of them. But there is no way with just that context to know what it is. There's just no way. Oh, I mean, that's a great note on which to end an arc, really. Leave the plot open to speculation, but leaving those relationships, just planting those tiny seeds and going, let's stay tuned to see how they grow.
Yes, I agree. There was a lot of that this episode as well, wasn't there?
There really was. Oh my god.
Can I give another little special call out to another tiny little moment that happened between two characters? And it's so small. It's tiny. I'm not sure if either of you's picked it up, but see when Yoruichi and Soifon grab Aizen, and then Yoruichi it's like she knows what's about to happen the minute Aizen says to her, and then she's like, Soifon, get back. Like, her first instinct is to warn Soifon away from Aizen. And I'm just like, oh, they're so cute together.
Yeah.
Those two do not get enough love, so I just wanted to draw light to that.
Yeah, and it's very nice to see that Yoruichi still cares in that way. Like, I mean, of course she would, because, like, we have sort of that context now, but, like, she and Soifon were just fucking going at it.
Yeah.
And even despite that, Yoruichi's initial instinct is to care about Soifon. Yeah. And Soifon heeds her, by the way. Like, Soifon is still, like, respects her and takes her seriously and is like, oh, you told me to move. Like, yes, I will move.
She didn't even think about it. She literally just leapt away.
Yeah, because you know what? Because they fundamentally still trust each other.
Yeah, they work so well together as two characters. They really do.
They really do. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah. Oh, geez. This episode has so much going on. Okay, so while we're sort of in the, like, everybody's worried about the Aizen situation, and we're still at this point on the ground, whatever, I just wanna, like, this is totally gonna be something that we can unpack further in the spoiler episode, which is coming up soon. Get hype. The exchange that Ukitake and Aizen have as Aizen is ascending up to the sky. So I think everything else kind of makes sense. Like, it's clear that Gin and Rangiku have history, and so it makes sense that they kind of speak back and forth as Gin is rising up. Komamura and Tozen, we know, have history, have been friends for a long time. Komamura is feeling confused and betrayed. That exchange makes sense.
Yep.
We've not really seen what kind of relationship, if any, Ukitake and Aizen have, and so the fact that it's, I mean, of course, like, it couldn't have been Momo in this moment because she is very otherwise occupied. But it could have been, it was a choice, right? Like, when Kubo was writing this, Kubo went, Ukitake should be the one to shout up to Aizen. And so I just want to, like, yeah. I mentioned in the summary that Aizen says overtly that there is, quote, an unbearable vacancy on heaven's throne. He then says that vacancy is at its end because from now on, depending on your translation, either I will be sitting upon it or I will stand upon the heavens, and that's all before he says sayonara. Ukitake and Aizen go back and forth in, like, a fairly cagey way. Like, I think they, in the sense that they both know what they're talking about, but people around them might be like, what, a little bit? Aizen shouts down when Ukitake asks, why are you doing this? He says, no one stood on top from the beginning. Not you, not me, not the gods. The two of them are talking about gods. Aizen is calling Ukitake arrogant, which, based on everything else we've seen from his character, does not line up. Like, it's just weird. And that's another aspect of nice plot cliffhanger, because I am like, what are they talking about? Stay tuned to find out yet again.
Yeah. I see what you mean, because he could have had Aizen speaking to, like, Yamamoto, or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yamamoto, exactly.
That would have made the most sense. So if you were going to pick anybody
or
there
even
just cause.
Ichigo, honestly.
Yeah. Well, he does say, I've taken that note of that, hey, you were quite amusing. And I'm like, wow, what a burn.
That's true. Bullshit, Aizen. You haven't laughed earnestly in 100 years.
But do you know what? I love the fact that he did that to Ichigo, because, like, up until just now, Ichigo has been the character that's come in and saved the day. Like, he'll go into a fight and then he'll turn it around, right? We've seen him go up against Kenpachi, go up against Byakuya. Like, he's gone up against a lot of people, not quite Yamamoto level, but, you know, like, he's gone up against captains and turned these battles around one after the other, pretty much. And for Aizen to say, like, well, first of all, last episode they stops him with a finger, and then to speak down to him so much just is showing us, whilst Ichigo's on the ground, so it's like a really cool representation of where Ichigo is at the level, like, at the feet. He's at the bottom of the pit of Aizen's power scale. Aizen is just so far above him, both metaphorically and physically in this episode, that it's like, it just sets up so much. Like, we know Ichigo's the main character. We know he's going to have a role to play in what's to come. How big or small that role is, we don't know yet. But we can now see just how far he's got to go to get anywhere near Aizen's level.
Yeah, and you know what? This is also a great indication of, up to now, we've seen, mostly through Ichigo as our, like, new entry into this world, proxy character kind of thing, when he goes up against Kenpachi, and we as the audience are like, oh fuck, that's really powerful. He goes up against Byakuya, and we're like, oh fuck, that's really powerful. We get to see a few dope fights, like we get to see Yoruichi and Soifone, and we're like, oh fuck, they're both really powerful. Kyoriko and Ukitake versus Yamamoto, and Yamamoto goes Shikai, not Bankai, but Shikai, and we're like, oh fuck, that's only your Shikai? You're really powerful. Like, we've seen so much power, and it's all been quite flashy and demonstrable for the most part, actually, but then at the end of this episode, we see all of these powerful people, including Ichigo, including all of the others that I just mentioned, on the ground, or at least not necessarily like prone, but like ground level, as Aizen eludes them all.
Yeah, he rises above all of them.
It is a level of power that we as an audience have not encountered yet in this series.
Yep.
Like, Aizen is truly, literally next level.
Yeah, and I'm so pleased that, like, because Kubo could have done this any other way. You could have had Aizen escaping any other way, like freaking, I don't know, apparition. Like, he could have had another method for Aizen to escape, but he didn't. He specifically chose to have Aizen rising above them all in a golden light. There's a reason why he did that, and I'm so glad that he did. It was such a beautiful shot.
Right.
Like, obviously, you can't tell in the manga what color it was, but, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's giving us so much more, because now we as the audience are left here going, how the heck is this going to play out? He's not been captured, he's not dead. How are they going to rise up to his level and take this giant down?
Right. And he seems to be aligned with Hollows, which are the first adversary we encounter in all of Bleach. Like, going way, way back, one of the first things we learn is Hollows are bad.
We even had cute little Rukia drawings to tell us so.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
You know it's important when there's Rukia drawings.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, though, it was like, okay, like, I need to simplify these explanations for Ichigo, and by Ichigo, I mean the readers and the viewers.
Nobody better be making fun of my queen's drawings. They are delightful.
They are that. They are that. Speaking of that queen, let's talk about Byakuya's tragic history, shall we? A little bit?
I mean, this is the first time that he looks at Rukia.
Yeah.
I mean, what a character development this guy has gone through in the past 3 seasons.
Fucking love his arc. I love his arc so much. Totally not the point, totally not the thing we were supposed to take away. But so we learned that Hisana is Rukia's older sister, and that we know she comes from the Rukon district, and which is hard and tough, and she didn't feel like she could take care of Rukia. In this flashback, Rukia is a literal baby. Like, she's a baby. She's a full baby on Hisana's back. And then she grows up. So if we want to ask, like, I don't have answers. But the question of what is time? What is Soul Society aging? Here's another wrench in these cogs. Like, what? She was fucking
who looked
cute.
after the baby? Like, yeah. Baby
Oh my
can't
god!
even
Wait.
walk.
Okay. So now
She gets raised by wolves. I would know.
or raised by a dog, in the sense that what if Renji was like 5 years old and found baby Rukia or something? Like, I don't think so. I think they're closer to the same age. But then again, what does closer to the same age even fucking mean in Soul Society? Who knows? Nobody knows. It's probably not Renji, but I like to think that some street kid was like, oh fuck, it's a baby, and then took the baby in and cared for it, because found family is a big important thing, especially in the Rukon district. So that's weird and wild. Everything else is actually pretty straightforward. Byakuya is just kind of like, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And he needs to go to therapy.
I mean,
need to go to therapy.
I mean, like, look, Byakuya obviously loved Hisana. Hisana mentioned, sorry that I couldn't repay the love you gave me. Which I thought was quite interesting. But we have seen a picture of Hisana before. We've now finally gotten confirmation who she is, because I remember we saw the picture of what looked like Rukia, and we were like, what? Who's that?
Yeah.
But now we know. So this wasn't just obviously pulled out of thin air. Kubo had this plan for a very long time, knew that this was Byakuya's motive for everything, that he was torn between these two huge parts of himself. But yeah, I think just seeing Byakuya swoop in and save Rukia, I was like, finally. And
it felt earned, like, narratively. Oh god, yeah. Like, I love Byakuya anyway, but rewatching Bleach this time and just knowing where he, like, I have nothing insightful to say. I just really like that he starts one way and has to make choices that are difficult, and he learns something and he changes, and like it's there's something that felt and continues to feel so satisfying. Like the panel where Gin's Shinso is just embedded in his body and he's holding Rukia and his face is like, fuck no. Like that every time, like I have a visceral physical reaction to that every single time because it's just so good. It's just so good, and it just feels so earned after all of this struggle.
Yeah,
like
totally.
I have nothing to add. I just love it. I just love it.
I appreciated it more this time around because I'll admit the first time around that I was watching Bleach, this is for anybody out there that's listening that identifies themselves as a girl, it gets annoying when the female character always has to get saved by a guy, right? And this has been Ichigo, Renji, Byakuya, which is it gets frustrating after a while. And I do want to look, I'm just going to call this out now so that I never have to bring this point up ever again in any of our podcast episodes, in the sense that Bleach falls into a lot of tropes where it's very, very sexist towards some of its female characters. And likewise to some of its males sometimes as well. But I love this show so much that I'm willing to like overlook it. I think to grow up and as a girl and in this body, you have to, if you want to enjoy anything, especially, you have to be willing to sometimes turn an eye to some things and ignore certain aspects of certain things.
Right.
And I've had to do that with Bleach. There's so many times throughout Bleach that I roll my eyes and I'm like, oh, there we go again. But I love other aspects of it so much that they shine through for me, and so now this rewatch I'm trying not to get as bogged down with all those other points. And the only reason I wanted to call it out is because I know there's another Bleach podcast out there and they call on those points way more than we do, so I wanted to just draw light to them as well and say that we know they exist, we just choose not to focus on them for our podcast because we want it to be obviously a lot more upbeat and happy and exciting, but we are aware that it does exist. Like, we're aware that it's there.
I actually fully hadn't thought of that. And like I you are absolutely correct, but I don't know whether that's because I myself have tended to identify with the mask identified characters in Bleach considerably more, and I was totally in that space of like, well, Rukia almost died. She's in a rough physical state right now. It makes sense that she can't defend herself when Gin is trying to kill her, and because of the arc that Byakuya has had, it makes sense that he steps in. I hadn't thought to look at that through a gendered lens. Thank you for naming that.
I just wanted to call it. I mean, it's been playing at the back of my mind for a while because it was one of the first things that, like, I never used to like Rukia as a character. I hated her. I thought she was just like Orihime. I really didn't like her in the beginning because I was like, great, here's two of your female trope characters coming in. You've got the idiot and you've got the damsel in distress. But like this time around, I'm putting that to the side. I'm enjoying it a lot more, and I'm excited for Rukia's arc going forward and how all that plays out.
Right.
I don't know, Nomi, was it just me? I don't know. Did you think have any of these similar thoughts? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, the tropes are definitely there, but I tend to push it aside because I just remember when it was made. Because this is 20 years old now. So like Seireitei has come a long way in 20 years. And there are some things, and you do cringe when you're watching it, and it's definitely there, but as you said, there are other things that outshine the negatives, and that's what makes it, because it just balances each other out.
Yeah. I think I know that I've definitely had to grow up with turning a blind eye to things, or I would just never enjoy them. But I am aware that they're there. I do know that they exist. They do get on my nerves sometimes. It's hard to turn a blind eye to certain aspects, but for the most part, I just wanted to call that out. But anyway, moving on to swiftly from that, we've got the Hisana thing. Rukia and Hisana don't just look like sisters, they look freaking identical. Like, so now I understand why Byakuya could never look at Rukia, because he was never over the death of his wife. So why would he ever want to look at Rukia if looking at Rukia is just going to remind him so much of that pain?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I realize now for the first time that both Ichigo and Rukia, who could not possibly have been aware, both of them are kind of being followed around by the oh shit, you look like this dead person.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good point. Good parallel between the two characters.
Damn. Oh my god. That just blew my mind.
That's good.
They've got that shadow,
Yeah, they really do. They really do.
And I wonder then, that must have been elements that Kubo had very early on, because originally Rukia was going to be the main character of Bleach. Yeah. And the Zanpakuto were going to be guns, but that's a whole other thing. Rukia was going to be the main character, but obviously she's a girl, so that was put to the side. But
there aren't guns. I would like Bleach so much less if there were guns.
I know. I'm so glad.
Speaking as an American, I can't. Like, I don't want guns in my escapist fiction. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I like the swords. There's something more artistic about a sword and beautiful about it. I don't know why, but there is, and maybe it's the history attached to them, right?
Sure. And the fact that there are so many. I mean, I suppose I don't know enough about shooting guns to speak to how many different ways of shooting a gun there are, but I think there are so many more different methods of sword play.
Yeah.
So even if everybody's using a blade or multiple blades, in the case of someone like Yoriku, you can still wield them in fairly distinct, personalized fashions.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
And the designs, though. But with that, I can move on to the rest of the anime manga differences, because we only really covered the giants, didn't we?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just small things. There's actually a really funny Viz translation error with the manga. When Tosen's talking about Aizen and he's saying his superior is a great man, the manga says, my captain is a great man, which just...
Oh, shit!
Which, for Del and I mean, yeah. But that's quite... Yeah!
But the thing is, he's right.
He is right. He is totally right.
Great.
But
stay tuned for later seasons to find out about that. My God.
But it's just a
happy belated birthday, my love. Anyway.
But yeah, it's just a funny translation error that really had me just like, wait, what? Is he? Okay, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
There's also
you could say he got it backwards. Keep going. Please keep going. Please keep going.
Yes. There's also a really random appearance from the Ryoko and Maki that really made my eyes roll. In the anime, they are on top of the hill and they're watching it with all the fighting going around, and they're just kind of in there. Whereas in the manga, they're still at the bottom of the hill and they watch everything looking up. So they've got longer to watch as they see Aizen rise to the sky. Because they're all down at the bottom of the hill watching. Yeah.
I like that as well, because that just draws even further parallel as to how far away their power levels are compared to everybody who's on top of the hill. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, it's got it adds to that list, doesn't it?
Including Maki.
There's a really cute scene that I wish they'd kept in with regards to Third Sea Eamura, who praises Orihime more. So in the anime, he does do a little bit of praising for Orihime, but in the manga, he has this whole monologue. I mean, he monologues quite a lot in the manga because he has his diaries that he writes in. But this is actually streamlined, not even a Maki, it is in the main chapter. And he's just all about praise for her, and he's like, the Ryoko girl, her healing power is astonishing. I've never seen anything like it before. I never expected something so sophisticated from a Ryoka. She's healing people as quickly as Assistant Captain Kotetsu, or I could, maybe quicker, and the sight of bloody flesh doesn't seem to faze her. If we had someone of her caliber in our company. And then it turns sexist and dirty, and
of course
we won't go there. But the fact that he's praising her power skill is quite cool.
I mean, let's face it, Orihime will definitely join the fourth when she passes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then the final difference I had actually links back to when we had Elv on the podcast and we were talking about the Hitsugaya episode with the Zanpack toe sheaths.
Yes.
Oh.
So there's a scene in the manga It's just a panel, and it's Unohana riding on Minazuki, who is her Shikai, and clear on her clearly is her Zanpakuto sheath. It's actually there. So her Zanpakuto sheath hasn't disappeared, it hasn't flown away or disintegrated or
So it must be exclusively a Toshiro thing then. So Elv was right. It's obviously something to do with his Rietsu.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just going to keep an eye on that going forward because it is so weird.
I think it's a little inconsistent, to be honest. I do. Not for Toshiro. I think it's very much done on purpose for Toshiro because now that Elves draw my attention to it, I've seen it a lot more in the anime and I've been reading it a lot more in the manga. You see he doesn't pull his sword out because his arm isn't long enough. If you think about his sword on his back, to get this sword all the way out, his arm would need to extend like 3 times the size of his body. But his whole sheath just disintegrates when he pulls it. So I have seen that happen. So it's definitely a Toshiro thing, but I think I have seen other people's sheaths just disappear in battle, but I don't know if that's just an animation thing and, not what to draw it in, banging about the sides of them when they're fighting and
Yeah. I'll have to go back and watch Mayuri's, because his is in a very distinct position.
His disappears, because I'm sure I watched it back with Swift, and his does disappear at points throughout the battle. But I don't know if it does in the manga. That'd be interesting.
And that's all I have, because I thought I had another one, but then it actually turns up next episode. So it made me happy.
Oh, fab.
Ish. It made me happy-ish. But I'll talk about it when we come to it.
Is it by any chance the Isani scene?
It is.
It is. Okay. Well, okay, I have a theory, but we can get there when we get there.
Okay, right. Well, actually, coming into this next episode then, obviously there's not nearly as much, but most of my points and things that I want to discuss come from manga and anime differences. So would you mind if I just launch into them?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So the first one then is the one that Naomi and I are obviously very passionate about. Is there's like a whole 3 pages where Asani wakes up, and she's been having a dream about fish or something, and then she's having it's a bad dream, and she wakes up and she's like sweating, and then she gets up and she starts pacing about the room, and she doesn't want to be by herself, and she doesn't want to go back to sleep again, and she's like, it's just a pure moment of her character where she's like, I could go and see, my sister, but she might just tell me to get lost, and she's worried about what to do, so she goes outside for some fresh air, and Unohana's outside, and like neither of them have their uniforms on, they're like dressed down, and Unohana has like her hair down and things as well. And Unohana asks her, have you had another bad dream? And Asani's like, yeah. And she's like, well, you can sit here until you've calmed down, but make sure you go back and rest again. And so she sits down beside Unohana, and it's so cute.
It is so cute. And the fact that it's in the manga, it is just like the Iemoa scene, it is in the middle of everything that's happening. Whereas the anime had to push it after the credits to an end credit scene, which kind of loses its kind of poignancy and its cuteness, because it's just one of those funny kind of, she wakes up screaming about fish nuggets or fish sausages or whatever it is she's screaming about, and it's got more of a comedic end credit scene to it rather than the wholesome relationship that you're seeing in the main bulk of the manga.
Yeah.
I was going to ask from a visual standpoint, because I noted that in that post-credit scene in the anime, you only see Unohana from the back with her braid down the back, and you don't get any close-ups at all. Are there any close-ups or
in the manga?
Angles
there
in
is.
The manga? Okay.
Yeah, there is. You see her face smiling. You see her from the side. You see her looking up. Yeah, I'm looking at it just now. There's a few.
Okay. Yeah, it's very much a like dancing around non-anime territory here a little bit, but I think potentially that could speak extensively to the trust that the two of them share. And
exactly, yeah, the trust and the
very much like,
yep.
If you know, kind of, yep.
Yep.
But I didn't want to leave that unsaid if in fact that was true in the manga as well. Okay, cool.
This other scene is one that I was speaking to Geisha extensively about today as well, actually. I think I've told her it a few times now, she's getting sick of hearing it. But there's well, first of all, it starts off with a scene where Izuru and Rangiku are drinking, obviously, as happens in the anime. And Rangiku is chanting, "Gin, you pig with your squinty little eyes, I hope he dies." And Izuru's just like, yeah, I'm going to drink until I puke. It's so funny. It's hilarious.
No.
But then there's like, then after that, it's like Rangiku isn't drunk at all, and she's like hanging out a window, and she's obviously like their office is ground level, and she's hanging out the window, and Shuhei walks by, and she's like, "Oh, Shuhei, come and have a drink with us." And Shuhei comes to the window, and Komamura's there, and she's like, "Oh, you two should come and have a drink." And Komamura's like, "I'm not going to come and have a drink with you." And Shuhei comes, and then he comes over, and then he like gets surprised at the state of Izuru, who we can't see on the panel, and he like jumps into the room, and he's like, "Rangiku, have you got like teeth foaming at the mouth? Why is he wearing a loincloth?"
Oh no!
And it's so funny.
Oh,
and then Rangiku's still at the window.
That's literal alcohol poisoning. That's not okay.
That's not okay, and I can see why they cut it out. But the thing that I really hate about this scene is it ties in all of these people walking about. So you've got Komamura and Shuhei who were together, and now you've got them splitting up. So now you understand why Shuhei ended up with Rangiku in the first place. And then Rangiku's shouting at Orihime and Ichigo who run by, like she's like, "You two come and have a drink," and Ichigo's like, "We're underage, stop asking." And they're running to try and find Rukia, so that ties in where they are at that point. And then Kuraku just walks by, and he's like, "Oh, I'll come and have a drink with you." And she's like, "You're not allowed, because Nana will shout at me." It's so good. It's like 4 pages or something, and it's hilarious.
Oh my god. Literally, though, that's the content I want.
Yes.
That's the content. I love those little moments.
Yeah. Agreed. And so that, like, obviously this changes out so the scene in the anime where, like, Shuhei is passed out with the loincloth on and Rangiku's passed out and Toshiro's like, "What happened?" And she's like, "I almost died with my boobs." That doesn't happen in the manga because obviously it's this scene instead. But I think the reason why they cut it was probably because Orihime and Ichigo are underage and the alcohol poisoning thing. But I
you know what?
preferred it.
They went, our audience is young boys, and we can't show them alcohol abuse, but we can show them titty jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, I liked it just because it's all these characters passing by and where they are with their own little storylines. It was like a little intersection between all the wee stories. Whereas the anime, it felt very disjointed. It felt very much like, oh, Ichigo's over here doing this. You know, Rangiku's over here doing this. Komamura's over there doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the scene of Unohana saying Momo's waiting for someone closer than her to talk to her, that's anime only. We get the manga's explanation. I understand why the anime made this different, but the manga's explanation of the soul badge happened as a flashback when Ichigo was riding home with Urahara.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which I get, because obviously why would the anime show us a flashback for something that happened 5 minutes earlier in that episode? You know what I mean? Like, I get that from that standpoint of, we're not going to show you a flashback happening, we'll just show you the actual thing happening in the episode. So I was like, that's fair. The scene of Kenpachi and Yachiru talking about Ichigo leaving was anime only, and the scene of Yoroichi and Urahara speaking at the very end was anime only as well. And that was it.
Cool. I have a thought that is not related to anime and manga differences, but it does circle back around to a point that I believe Nomi made last podcast episode. Somebody, I don't remember which of you, but somebody asked a question about why Urahara was conducting business in the West Rukangai, even though apparently he was like close to Karakura town. And then the theory was posited that certain locations in Soul Society might line up with certain locations in the world of the living. And I think we get evidence perhaps that supports that theory in this episode / series of chapters, in that I've said it before, I will probably say it multiple times again because it's just a fact that I like, that Karakura town is under the jurisdiction of the 13th division, and it is in fact Ukitake who facilitates the Senkaimon. So I think there could be some legs to that theory from last episode, so that's quite cool.
I'll take that.
That's all.
I will take that. Yeah, I'll take that. And that obviously explains why Rukia was there, because we know that she was a member of the 13th division.
Yes. I think that might be the context in which I mentioned that before. I can't recall, but yeah. I mention that often because I don't know. Because I write a lot of Ukitake-centric fic, occasionally I've wanted or needed to work that in, so it's just like stuck very firmly in my brain, but yes, 'tis a thing.
I always try and use it when we're recruiting people in the server where they're like, I don't know which one to join. I'm like, come join us, we get trips to the world of the living.
Well, I mean, it's not just the world of the it's like Karakura Town.
Yeah, it's fine.
But,
They don't need to know that. Shh.
Oh,
Exposition, they don't need to know.
that's why I'm the captain and you're the lieutenant. Not really, not in this server. You know, if we are what we consume, then tisk tisk.
I've made all my points for this, so I'm quite happy.
Same. Yeah, the rest of it, it's just kind of.
I'm reading my notes and they make no sense.
That's fine.
I've written, save the world, get a job, don't get paid.
What?
Oh, no, yes, this is...
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
This is in reference to
The Soul Reaper badge?
Yeah, the Soul Reaper badge. It's like...
Yeah.
Hey, save the world, and congratulations, here, get a job, but you don't get paid.
Well, that's actually, like, there's a whole bit, I know I've spoken about Bleach as Abridged at length on this podcast as well, but, like, they make each of these concepts into kind of a bit, and the whole fucking bit with the Soul Reaper badge is like, oh, it's Kurosawa, I can't remember, it's like, oh, he's non-union, like, you don't have to... the whole thing.
I will admit, we did start watching the Bleach abridged episodes
so
on this.
good.
They're so funny. They are so funny.
It's so
Rangiku's
good.
voice as well. It just gets me every time.
Oh, it's such a good choice. I love that choice, and I don't want to say what it is. I'd rather the fans just go in and discover
just go
that
and
for
watch
themselves.
it.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes are amazing.
Oh, I forgot about that. Ooh. Yeah, okay, wow. Yeah, this episode is just largely like the calm after, before the storm. Ichigo,
Yeah.
both after and before, really. There are storms all over the place. It's a shonen anime. What do you expect?
There's a lot of...
People joking around, fighting, Ichigo rolling up to Byakuya's window, Renji is whittling something. Renji and Byakuya seem like they're gonna still continue to talk and work together, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll kiss. What? Who said that? Not me. Byakuya's a widower. He's completely single.
Yes. He's on the market.
He's totally on the market.
There's a lot of tying up loose ends, but I mean,
Yeah.
please tell me they actually told Renji and the others that they found Rukia, because they were still looking at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
So that was not in the manga, I believe.
Yeah.
That was not. Yeah.
That's
Oh
funny.
wait, I missed a manga difference because I went on to the other page. Hold on, I missed one.
Oh yeah.
There's 4 pages of Ichigo returning home to Kon, who, by the way, is effectively masturbating in his sleep, and then
Ew.
using the Soul Reaper badge on him and learning that it works like Rukia's glove, and then getting drop kicked by his father in the morning because child abuse.
Yeah.
Aww.
Wouldn't be home
Yeah.
without that.
No, it really wouldn't. God, Ishin.
I know.
Dad, man, for real. Every year. He's
Why
so
are all
good.
the shonen dads kind of rubbish?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway.
No. Well, I was my brain was trying to make delving into the dad guy relevant. So that ain't it. What we're gonna actually do, I believe, is delving into the Don guy.
I do
There may or
have
may
5
not
more
be dads
words
involved.
with regards
Oh,
to the episode,
yes.
though.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What are they?
It's fine. The rain has finally stopped.
Yes.
Huh.
And it's a perfect week to bring that up because it's Ichiriki week in the server.
Oh, is it now? Okay, that's
Yes.
nice.
No, I just thought it was like such a really beautiful way to end the arc when this whole the whole running theme of rain has been running throughout, and now it's finally stopped, and maybe they can get on with their lives. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, but it gives the illusion that it's coming to a close, even though pretty sure very next episode it's going to start raining again. But hey, who knows?
Yeah.
Or at the very least, like, something is coming to a close, if not everything. Like, just because the rain has stopped doesn't mean that there aren't puddles on the ground, sort
Yeah.
of thing. But it's not raining anymore.
They can see clearly now.
Yeah. Oh no.
Wow. Yeah, because I'm looking
Except
at
not
the
Aizen, cause he took his glasses off.
My God. Right, I'm looking at the manga panel just now, and I think it is in the anime as well. It's he says, "Thanks, Rukia, because of you, the rain has finally stopped."
Yeah.
Is what he says. And that's like, I think there's so much surrounding Ichigo, Rukia, and Renji and Byakuya when it comes to like the moon analogy and the rain analogies, and it's just really, they're so layered characters, and this is why fanfiction is so good, because you can write so much from all of them.
So true.
It is. Although it's such an awkward placement for the official Senkaiman on top of the very hill Rukia was about to get executed on. It's not exactly the most accessible Senkaiman.
No.
Unless there are reasons for that, and there could be, but we can touch on that in not this episode, and I'm not kidding. Cool. Well, now that I've fumbled my way through that initial intro, how about an actual delving into the Dangai moment? Are we there? Do we feel like we're there? Are we there?
We're there, but we got nothing to share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what, fans? You're welcome. Okay, Shinigami Go! Black Side Edition! No, for real, we'll keep you posted. It's just that, like, there hasn't been news in a couple of weeks. As per usual, you probably know the drill by now if you've made it this far. As soon as we know, you will also know. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted.
There is some official Kubo merch on Club
that's cool.
Outside.
That's cool.
Yeah, they've got some t-shirts. They do ask that you register, and it's all in yen and Japanese only. But yeah, there's a really cool shirt of a character I particularly like in a colour that I particularly like, and I just keep looking at it going, oh.
If only you had a Japanese credit card.
I know. Yeah.
Bummer. Well, Naomi, you may not be able to wear that t-shirt, but I'm curious to know. I'm on fire today.
That was good.
I'm curious to know who we all thought wore it best in this series of episodes.
Naomi, that's you.
Yeah. Mine is Chad looking like a chivalrous Quincy.
Oh.
Because of the shirt that Uyu gave him, and it's not Quincy colours, but it's the Quincy symbol because it's
Yep.
Oh.
St. George, eat your heart out.
My who were best is Byakuya finally wearing Big Brother energy.
Ooh, that's good. Mine is also Byakuya, but it is purely aesthetic, completely literal. I just love it when neat and tidy people get a little mussed up. And so just the way his hair falls into his face when he's being stabbed and then when he collapses, I just think it's... Like, I don't recommend it, but it's a good look for anybody. All right. Up next, we've got Best Ship.
Mine is Ichigo in the Japanese language.
Oh, nice! Nice!
Just because of that one scene with Ikaku. But also shout out to Issa Red.
To what? To what?
It's Seireitei.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I had that down as like a special mention, but I had two down. I had. Yeah. No, I had that as my main one. Let's just go with that as my main one. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
cool. All right, then I suppose, I'll carry on to mine, which was in this case, there are a lot of friendships that got highlighted in these episodes, but the one that I was kind of like, ooh, yeah, I forgot how nice that feels sometimes, even if there are problems involved. The friendship between Rangiku and Kira. It was nice to see that, because we haven't seen that outside of like a high-stakes combat situation yet.
Yeah.
They should probably drink less. I mean, I don't want to be prescriptive about it. I don't know their life, but... Yeah, I like
totally
that they have
beat each other up, but then they, they forgave each other. They came back.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. I like it. And then, finally, double take.
Mine... Okay. So, mine is the fact that Byakuya wears a short-sleeved Hayori, because it was just one of those things. I was just like, I'd never noticed it before, which then led into a good hour conversation with my sister, naming all the captains with short-sleeved Hayoris, because she was like, there's quite a few, and I was like, no, there's like one or two, and then she proved me wrong by pulling up like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, that was my double take because it just spanned this whole hour conversation and they're finally pulling up a picture of captains, even captains that we haven't even met yet, of short sleeve Taoris, and I was like,
"You're so right. You're so right."
And I felt betrayed by one of them and cursed his name, but yeah.
Well, rip to that.
Yeah, because you're right, Toshiro is one. And that's been a problem because I've just realised that I'm pretty sure in a lot of my fan fictions I've wrote them as having long sleeves. Oh, shocking.
Okay, no, but here's a thought. What if he got a hand-me-down from whoever the previous captain was, and then the sleeves were too long, and so he said, fuck that, and decided to be a punk-ass and cut them off?
I mean, not to give spoilers away or anything, but that would be a huge-ass fucking Haiori on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't feel like that's a spoiler, because I feel like most adult-size Haiori would be way too big for Toshiro. That could be anybody. Other than Yachiru, really, who does not wear a Haiori anyway.
My double take was the missing... Or sorry, did we do... Naomi, that was yours, wasn't it? The sleeveless Haiori.
Yeah.
Mine's was the missing scenes, like the Rangiku drinking one and the Unohana and Isane, which I didn't realise was at the end credits, so I missed it entirely. But yeah, those were mine.
Gotcha. Mine was those quick little shots of Rukia as a literal baby. I just spent some time thinking about that.
Yeah.
Bless her.
All right, let's move on to our fandom shout-outs for this week, shall we?
Yeah. So mine is a piece of artwork by Andythelemon on Tumblr, and it's not a character or anything, and I just thought it was like a really nice image to have for our season finale. Because it's just a minimalistic picture of the Seireitei. And you've got Sogyoku Hill in the background, you've got like a little cherry blossom. And it's originally written, created for a fanzine. But they posted it on Tumblr for everyone to see. And I just thought it was really pretty.
It's really pretty.
That is really pretty.
And I was like, it's perfect for the ending.
I would frame that and put that on my wall.
I would, actually, you're right.
That.
It's like a little postcard.
I'm moving next month, and I might literally see if this person offers prints or something. That's very nice.
It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. Mine is, because it is Ichiruki week in the server, even though by the time this episode comes out, it will have ended, I thought I'm going to pay homage to that. And mine is a fan fiction. And it is called Is It Pretending If I Really Do Love You? And it's written by Chrisil on AO3, and it's effectively Rukia. Ichigo becomes Rukia's lieutenant, and she gets sick of everybody hitting on him because he's not getting any work done, and then she keeps getting pestered about what's going on between you two, so they just pretend to date just to shut everybody up, but then they slowly start to realise that they're really good together.
Fake dating trope. Cool. Gotta love a good fake dating.
Mine this week is we're getting into those warmer months in many parts of the year, and this artist, I'm just gonna drop it here. I'm not gonna tell. You know what? Here, react without having seen before.
Let's see. Oh my god.
Oh, that's
Isn't this stunning?
My god.
Okay, yeah. So, what I'm gonna say to any viewers, this is a piece of art by Wulvercazz on Tumblr.
Wow.
And it's like, it's a cool artistic interpretation of these characters to begin with. I'm also going to say crop top rights, so just going to leave that right where it is. Most of these characters are characters we've seen before, and I'm going to say there is technically a spoiler character that we have not met yet, but rather than being like, don't look at it, it's a spoiler, I'm going to say consider it more like a preview for our next podcast season than a spoiler, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening here. It is fun. It is Bleach characters wearing stupid clothes, like in the best way. I just think it's lovely. Wulvercazz on Tumblr. Check it out.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
You need to share this in the actual server. People will go nuts for this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good. Great. Yeah. No, these are some iconic stylings. They really are. Ugh. Okay, well, if that's us, then all I have left to say for the season, actually, wow, is, you wonderful souls, that is the end of another episode. So, if you like what you heard and you want to get involved, you can find us by searching for TheSeireitei on Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook, and TSeireitei on Twitter. Each of these platforms will link you to our fantastically deadly Discord family, where you can chat with us about the show, read fan fiction, take part in creative challenges, and talk anything and everything Bleach. Now, Ichigo and Rukia might reap souls, but we are hoping to reap some 5-star reviews, and that is where you come in. Make like our favorite orange-haired protector and Ichi go to iTunes to rate us and review us and give it to me. Make us feel like #1. To those of you listening on YouTube, don't forget to be like Chad and give us that good thumbs up. We really appreciate it. On the next episode of the podcast, we'll be digging into our 3rd spoiler episode, because that's what we do when we finish seasons of this beautiful anime. We talk spoilers, everything up to but not including the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. So, if you have also watched subsequent animated arcs and want to know what our takes based on that information is, then be sure to tune in. We'll be dropping that in a couple of weeks. So, heck yeah, get stoked. A thing to note that we will probably remind you all of after we record that spoiler episode 2 is that the next anime arc is a filler arc. And because we're only covering canon content on this podcast, we will be skipping that arc in its entirety. We will not be covering that arc at all, I don't think, unless we want to like go back later and do some bound time.
I think we need to do some explaining the start of our next episodes to just explain who some random characters are that will pop up but will not be in the manga, but whatever. Yeah, so that'll be our regular manga and anime difference.
I like 0 of those characters.
Yeah, I'm the same.
None. They're the worst.
Noba's okay, but yeah, other than that.
Yeah, because Noba doesn't talk much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's why Noba's fine. Yeah. So yeah, we just wanted to let you all know what the deal is with that. If you've been watching along with us and you go to watch the next episode in your queue, that's not the episode we're going to be talking about next. We're going to be skipping that arc. I believe the episode, let me get a number for you all. Yeah, the episode that we're going to be picking up on, we're skipping quite a lot. We're skipping episodes 64 through 108. We will be picking up with episode 110, reopening of the substitute business, the terrifying transfer student, because what's an anime without a transfer student with no secrets and nothing to hide and no sketchy past and really great hair and a smile that melts my heart and an extensively exciting hat. I like him. I like him. Yeah. When I tell you, I have almost gotten my tongue pierced so many times for that reason.
Oh my god, I had my tongue pierced for like 15 years. I took it out like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
I still think about it like once every couple of months.
I mean, you should.
Anyway,
it's good fun.
No, I know. I know. Anyway, without going off for too long about that, that's what we're going to be picking up. Episode 110, which will not be the next episode in your straight up queue because the next arc is in fact filler. Feel free to watch it. We're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah. Are we doing episode? Yeah. Are we just doing 1 episode next podcast, or are we doing 2? Or
I think we're going to be doing 2. I think we're going to be doing 2. It's a little bit. We'll sort that out, but because there is a little bit of canon content in episode 109, we might blur those lines a little bit for the next episode. But per what the listeners are used to, it's going to be 2-ish episodes of the anime per podcast episode, perhaps occasionally 3 if some of them aren't super jam packed. So back to business as usual without too much trouble, I think.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yes, spoiler episode up next. Stay tuned for that. And otherwise, if spoiler episodes aren't something you're engaging with right now, then we will see you in a couple of weeks for arc 5, season 5 of this anime. Whenever it is, we will see you so soon. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for listening. We love you. Bye.